They didn't even finish singing the national anthem before he tripped me in front of the whole assembly. And that was how I started my first day as an Omega in an elite beta-dominated military academy. I had worked my whole life for this scholarship, endless drills, grades, interviews, only to be humiliated 5 minutes after stepping foot on the parade ground. I still remember the sting of the concrete against my chin, the flash of cameras, and the wave of snickers rising like smoke around me. His name was Blaine Mercer, tall, golden, with a gaze sharp enough to slice. His voice, when he leaned down next to my ear, was low enough to burn. I knew I shouldn't respond. I'd read the code of conduct. But part of meth wounded, stubborn, 17-year-old part wanted him to see I wasn't scared. So I stood up, adjusted my uniform, and looked him in the eye. This hell better have room for me then. That was the first time Blaine Mercer smiled at me. But not the last. I slept with one eye open for the first month. Blaine never needed to lift a finger. His loyal inner circle did it all. Missing boots, swapped uniforms, military bedsheets soaked in some disgusting protein shake. Every single day, I'd find a new way they tried to break me. But I didn't break. What I didn't know, what none of us knew, was that Blaine wasn't just the golden boy. He was the son of the headmaster, untouchable, a perfect soldier on paper, destined for a place in the command council. The academy was his kingdom. And yet, late one night after training, I caught him staring. Everyone else was asleep, but I could feel it hat burn on the back of my neck. I turned. He didn't look away. "Why don't you fight back?" he asked, not moving from his bunk. "Because I'm not here to prove I'm strong," I whispered. "I'm here to become strong." Blaine looked at me like I'd just spoken a language he'd never heard before. For a long time he said nothing. Then he turned his head, and I thought that was the end of it. But something shifted. The bullying stopped. Not all at once, but piece by piece. I'd still find my bunk kicked or my locker messed with, but Blaine never participated. He started avoiding me in drills, staring too long during lectures, his smirks softening into something unreadable. I didn't know what to make of it until the day he grabbed my wrist in the armory. "You think I'm cruel," he said, voice low, "but you don't know what it's like living with him. Your dad." He nodded. He didn't want an Omega for a son, so I became the best beta he ever trained. I blinked. "But you're—" He squeezed my wrist harder. "Don't say it." That night, the full moon was hidden behind thick clouds, but my mind spun under the weight of what I'd learned. Blaine was an Omega, like me. We started meeting in secret, in the old shooting range in the library basement behind the mess hall kitchens. At first, it was just conversation. He'd talk. I'd listen. He told me about the pills he took to mask his scent, the pressure to perform, the suffocating pride of his father. I told him about growing up in a rough neighborhood, about my mother who cried when I got the acceptance letter, about being the only Omega who passed the academy's physical standards in 5 years. Some nights we didn't talk at all. We just sat there, sharing silence. One night, after a brutal storm rolled over the campus, I found him drenched and trembling near the obstacle course. "Did he hit you again?" I asked. "No," Blaine choked. "He just looked at me." "That's worse." I put my hand on his cheek, slowly, gently. He didn't flinch. The kiss happened on a Tuesday. The cafeteria was loud. Chaotic. Someone had triggered the fire alarm again. Blaine stood across the room, his perfect posture stiff as ever, but I saw it, the crack in his mask. And then he walked to me, just like that, in front of the crowd. "Meet me tonight," he said. "Please." It wasn't a command. That night, beneath the old gym bleachers, Blaine kissed me like he was falling. And I caught him. Of course, nothing stays hidden forever in a place built on rules and ranks. The headmaster's assistant found us. Someone must have reported the meetings. Maybe one of Blaine's old loyalists. Maybe one of mine, thinking I'd gone soft. All I remember is the next morning. My name called over the intercom and Blaine's voice, cold and clipped, avoiding my gaze as he stood beside his father. "I don't know this cadet," he said. The words hit harder than any punch ever could. My world broke into silence. They tried to expel me. The headmaster said I was a threat to discipline and emotionally manipulative, that I had seduced his son. I didn't speak, but someone else did. A beta cadet, once one of Blaine's bullies, stood up and told the truth. Then another did, and another. The room filled with confessions, with shame, with voices I never thought would stand for someone like me. Then Blaine stood, his face pale, hands shaking, voice clear. I lied, he said. He didn't seduce me. I loved him, and I still do. The room fell dead silent. Then chaos. The academy board called an emergency meeting. The headmaster was suspended, pending investigation. The press got wind of it. The school issued a statement about inclusion and accountability. They let me stay. Blaine was forced to take a leave of absence, but he left with his head high and his hand brushing mine as he walked out. I'll come back for you, he whispered. Graduation came faster than I expected. I stood at the top of my class, the first openly Omega cadet to lead a unit, to win combat simulations, to earn the commander's medal. Blaine returned 6 months later. The first time I saw him, standing at the edge of the parade ground, I didn't run to him. I marched. But when I reached him, I broke protocol and kissed him under the rising flag. No one stopped us. No one dared. Now, years later, I stand at the academy gates as an instructor. A new generation arrives. Omegas, betas, Alpha Sol equal in regulation, though the world outside still stumbles. But inside these gates, we fight for something better. Blaine and I side by side. Because love isn't weakness. It's the kind of strength this world never sees coming. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.